AITA for not giving my former SIL the necklace I had made for my wedding rings from my deceased husband. When I, 27F, was 22, I got married to my high school sweetheart who passed away 5 months after we married when a drunk driver drove into his car. It took me a while to take off my rings, and when I did, I didn't want them to just sit in a drawer forever. So, I took them to a jeweler and had his and my rings melted down and used the gold and the stones to make a pendant and some small stud earrings. I have the earrings in my jewelry box and I wear the necklace every day. 1. Because I like the way it looks, and 2. Because I like the idea of having a tangible part of him with me always. Last month my boyfriend, 34M, of almost 2 years, proposed to me and I said yes. I keep in touch with my former SIL, 29F, who we will call Ava, and last weekend she invited me out for drinks. We caught up a bit before she congratulated me on my engagement. She then asked me if she could have my necklace since it would mean more to her as his sister than it would to me now that I was getting remarried and moving on, which honestly stunned me that anyone would outright ask for something like that. I told her I would think about it and move the conversation along, but went home shortly after as it was just awkward. I just want to make it clear that it is not an heirloom piece or overly expensive. It was a small emerald ring that we found on holiday at a local jeweler and I fell in love with it. I told my best friend, F28, about it, and she said that it seemed strange that I was still so attached to it given its history and my new engagement. She thinks that I should probably give it to Ava as it would mean more to her, and I should shed anything from my old life and embrace my new one. She said that I should get a new necklace and make new memories, and that she would go with me or I could ask my fiancé. But the thing is, yes, I have moved on, and I am completely happy in my relationship, and I am so excited for the life we are creating together. But a part of me will always have love for my former husband and mourn him and the life that we could have had together, and I don't think that that takes away anything from my new relationship. They are different loves and lives. But now it feels silly to me that I have conveyed all this into a necklace. My fiancé says he does not care and he knows that I love him and our life together, and understands that I will always have some level of grief and that he loves how I have loved and keep loving and how I embrace life and people because of my experience. Sorry that my English is bad. It is my only language and I have no real excuse, but I work night shift. I think that it lowers my brain function sometimes. So AITA for not wanting to give my former SIL my necklace? Edit. Thank you to everyone who commented. Reading through the comments made me cry, and I do intend to respond to them. I just feel a bit overwhelmed by all of the kindness. I am a long-time lurker of Reddit, so this is all very new to me. I want to thank those who corrected me. Late husband is the term I was trying to think of, but couldn't when I wrote this. I find it really hard to word everything about my late husband, like the term moved on feels very casual and inaccurate, but I am not sure what is an accurate way to say it. But I am keeping my necklace. I just wanted to clear up that my best friend is really one of the most incredible people. She is my rock, and a big part of why I am still around and not locked away somewhere, hospital, prison. It felt like it could have gone either way for a while there. She and my mom tag-teamed me after the accident and made sure I ate and would just sit with me in silence. She found a grief support group and would drive me there and wait for me in the car park when meetings finished. And what I could never repay her for was how she stood so strongly for me during the court hearings. I had never felt such pure, unadulterated hatred towards anyone or anything as I did to that driver, and she held my hand through it all and helped me get through it. She let me sit in my grief and anger, but didn't let it consume me. It felt like my brain snapped, and she helped me stick it back together, but like that Japanese art style where they repair broken vases with gold, so it is broken, but when it is put back together it is stronger and more beautiful. I don't know where I would be without her because she didn't have to do any of what she did. I don't like the way she worded what she said, but she has always been the type that after a breakup she tosses away any reminders of her ex. I've gone with her to buy new clothing to replace ones that hold to vivid of memories. I think what some of the comments say is right, and that she compares the grief she has experienced from breakups to what I have experienced. Which, while you can't compare grief because grief is grief, the experiences are worlds apart. Ava really isn't a bad person. She was my sister for years. I used to absolutely adore her. After I turned 19, though, before 19 she thought me and her brother were brats. But after the court hearings, my former FIL, and to an extent Ava cut contact with me because seeing me brought back to many memories, which I understand, but it hurt me deeply because they were a big part of my family since I was 15. Ava and I still kept in contact, but it was more of a holidays and birthdays kind of thing with the occasional drinks and dinner. So, while I still have a lot of love for her, our relationship has changed drastically, and her asking me what she did and how she worded it was really not in the realm of anything I thought she would say or ask of me. She does have some of my late husband's belongings, like things from his childhood and knickknacks, and some clothing, so I don't understand why she would think to ask for my necklace. I am going to take advice from the comments and talk to her and try to figure out where she is coming from. Reading the different perspectives has really helped me think more clearly and feel a little less hurt by what she said. Because of our history, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt at first, but if she pushes the topic, then I will have to make some choices. I am not sure how I am going to word it yet, or if I want to say it via text or in person, but I will figure that out. Grief is really strange and hard and isn't something you understand until it happens to you. What kind of helped me to understand and made me feel like I wasn't losing my mind was the visualization that your soul is like a bubble that grows with you and your experiences and relationships, and you are just floating around in it. Good experiences and relationships add things to the bubble that make it beautiful, like little bits of glitter and flowers and fluffiness. Bad things add spikes and staples, and grief is like one big spike that when it first strikes goes from one end to the other and encompasses everything, and you bump up against it all the time at first, and it just really hurts. Then time passes and your bubble grows around the spike. The spike is still there, but you don't touch it as often. But when you do, it hurts just as bad as the first time. But the upside to that is the good things like joy, like when you think of someone you love, and it's all fluffy and safe and nice. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but it has always helped me to remember that fresh, fiery pain won't feel like that forever, and that I will bump up against something fluffy and kind and happy. You can even fall in love again, which I am so lucky and grateful for my fiancé. He is truly a gem, too soon, of a man, and makes me feel so safe and warm, which is a feeling that I didn't feel for a long, long while. But just always make sure the people you love know that you love them. Give them extra hugs. Go and see or call that person you have been meaning to. This only goes for the people who deserve to be in your life. Always leave things on a pleasant note. Even if you are arguing, you don't even have to make up. Just make sure your parting words are pleasant and loving. Because you really never know when something could happen. You always think you have time. My goal in life is to have my relationships with people in such a way that my final words won't have to be tell blank I love them, because they will already know. And now to the next story, Story 2. AITA for taking away my brother's +1 and inviting his girlfriend myself? I kind of know I am the asshole, but I need to know how bad it was. My brother is 29 and has been with Leah for about 2 years. We all like her. She is super nice. I am getting married next April and sent an invite to my brother's apartment. We decided to send invites to households and not individuals. For example, our aunt received an invite for her family and not for each individual. Last Thursday, we met at my parents' place. It was just the core family because of some tax reasons, lol. While there, I asked my brother about Leah's dietary restrictions. I know that she is a vegetarian for health reasons and that she cannot have certain raw vegetables. He said that she wasn't going to come and that he was taking his girl best friend, Amanda, instead. Now, their relationship is weird AF. Amanda has always been stringing my brother along, in my opinion. He always denies having feelings for her, but let's be real here. Amanda would date other guys, blow off my brother. Then when things were on the decline with her partners, she would be attached to him again. Her last boyfriend broke up with her right around the time my brother, his then ex-girlfriend, Amanda, and her ex were supposed to travel to Spain. What did my idiot brother do? Go with Amanda alone because Amanda was uncomfortable with his ex-girlfriend. Obviously, he acted blindsided when his girlfriend broke up with him. I didn't even say anything anymore because it's all so weird. So, when he said that, I asked if we already had other plans. But my brother said that Amanda had asked if she could come because it would be an opportunity to finally see the old gang. We were in the same friend group in high school. I told him that I would have invited Amanda if I wanted her there. Amanda is mean and cold. She always makes disparaging comments about other girls. At every event, around 1 hour in, she will make some sort of scene that either has her running away crying or sitting mad at a table, telling everyone to leave her alone, and then making a cryptic comment about something hurting her. I told my brother I was revoking his +1 and Amanda was not coming to our wedding. He accused me of being misogynistic and bigoted because I don't understand opposite-sex friendships, which is BS. My husband has a female childhood friend who is his best woman. I love her too and she has been amazing. And she respects Fu King boundaries. She always includes me and made a huge effort when I started dating my fiancé to integrate me into the friend group. Anyway, I said my decision was final. He could take it or leave it, but I would be inviting Leah myself because I like her. He screamed at me and told me to keep out of his business. I said to get rid of his weird Fu King feelings for Amanda. He is mad at me. My dad said is none of our deal. My mom is furious with my brother. So AITA? Edit. To answer some questions. The invite was addressed to the Smiths. Funnily enough, Leah had the same last name as us. Granted, we have one of the most common last names. Yes, they live together. The tax thing is nothing huge. My parents have a small business, but are really bad at keeping track of all their receipts. So every month we go and help them. We digitalize the receipts and put them in a bookkeeping software for the accountant. Next story, Story 3. AITAF, or giving my brother's Discord to a girl without asking him. Last week, I, 21M, took my little brother, 15, to an anime convention in our state. It was my brother's first time going to one, and he's pretty nerdy to boot, so he had been very excited about going in the weeks leading up. My brother isn't a very social kid. By his own admission, he's a massive introvert. He doesn't have a ton of IRL friends, and on the drive up to the hotel room, he told me he wanted to make at least one friend during the weekend. I told him I'd help if I could. Early in the second day of the convention, me and him are waiting in line for the dealer's hall to open, and in front of us is a girl about my brother's age, playing on a Nintendo Switch. I ask her what game she plays, and when she mentioned one that my brother, a huge Nintendo fanboy, had played, I say, "Oh, my brother here is a big fan of those too. Isn't that right, brother's name?" He sheepishly agrees and to my surprise, actually starts talking to the girl about the game, and then some other ones, before moving on to other nerdy things they had a shared interest in. It was the most I'd ever seen my brother interact with a stranger, and it made me very happy to see. Eventually the dealer's hall opens, and me, my brother, and the girl all end up at the same booth, buying merch. As we're checking out, I point to the girl and ask what my brother thought. He just as sheepishly tells me that he thought she was cool and kinda cute. You should go ask for her Discord. I bet she'd give it to you. No, is all he says in response. When I press him on why, he says he's nervous about coming off as creepy and besides, what if she says no? I tell him that as long as he isn't approaching her in a creepy way, then he probably doesn't have to worry about that, and if she says no, then she says no. That rejection is part of getting to know people, and learning to handle it well when you're young would be a big help for when he's an adult. He tells me no again, and by that time, the girl is gone anyways. Later during that day, me and my brother got separated, and I was walking around on my own. At some point, I noticed the girl at a booth and go up to her. I asked what she thought of my brother, and her response was remarkably similar to my brother's. She thought he was funny and cute, and wanted to talk to him more about Switch games. I offered to give her my brother's Discord, and she agrees. A few hours later, She finally messages him, a simply hey with an introduction and how she got his Discord. My brother was pissed. He immediately started telling me that it was a total breach of his privacy to give out his Discord without his permission. I pointed out that he had told me that he wanted to make friends at the convention and that I basically dropped one at his feet. He went quiet and was chilly around me for the rest of the day, but was fine by tomorrow. That was a week ago. I did apologize to him, and it feels important to say that he and the girl are still talking daily. Was I the asshole for giving out his Discord without asking him? And one last story. AITA for blowing up on my dad and telling him he can't see my daughter? Alright, so a little backstory. I'm a 19 years male and I have a fiancée, let's call her Kay, who is 19 female, and I have a 8-month-old little girl. So all my life my dad has basically done nothing for me. He would call to tell me and my mom where to go so I could stay with him for the summer and then ghost us and I wouldn't hear from him again for months. He is still way behind on child support for not only me but for 2 of my other siblings. He's always just been hateful and mean. I have tried to talk to him and have a relationship with him, especially since now I have a kid and I want him to be a part of her life. We talked and stayed civil at least for a couple of years. I used to live with him when I was around 16 and worked at the same place as him. He stole around $1,000 from me in total while I lived with him, and he would promise to pay it back or buy me something I wanted to make up for it, and I never got anything. I would help with bills and buy my own special things so he didn't have to. So me and my fiancée just got a puppy about 3 months ago and my dad called and asked if we wanted to come stay with him for the weekend. Our puppy wasn't housebroken yet and couldn't be alone for that long, and we don't have anyone to watch the pup, so we asked if we could bring him with us. After a little convincing, my dad agreed. So we get to his house and everything was fine with the entire visit. I actually had a good time. Now for the part where I might be the asshole. My pup is from a litter of like 6. My older brother got my pup's sister and found out she had sarcoptic mange, which is a type of mange dogs can get from a parasite called scabies. We thought my pup had it because his ears were crusty and started to split. So I called my father and told him about my brother's dog and how my pup might have had it. He went on a whole rant telling me I should be ashamed of myself for bringing an animal around my 8-month-old daughter and called me a shitty father. I was honestly kind of shocked and responded with, "You have no right to tell me how I am as a father when you have 6 kids and only 2 talk to you, me and my 13-years-old brother." He told me I was neurotic and told me to go fuck myself. I just didn't respond at that point. A couple of weeks later, I saw that Godzilla -1 is on Netflix, and me and my father are huge Godzilla fans, so I try to call him. No answer. So I try again a few hours later. No answer. I called my little brother just to find out my dad blocked me, and it was because he doesn't put up with bullshit. So I told him and his wife that my family will no longer be a part of his cultish family and how I will not allow my daughter to be around that kind of toxicity. He just yelled and told my little brother he was no longer allowed to talk to me. AITA?